In a world where there are too many comic books to keep up with, one podcast has the stones to bring you all of your comic book needs. Week by week. Book by book. One epic show. You are now tuned in to Nerd Church Radio.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Church Radio DC Communion. I'm your host, Ben Dupé.
I am Noah O'Toole.
And I'm his wife, Ariel Dubé.
How's everyone doing this week?
Very good.
Again, I know, I just asked you this,
yeah.
but yeah.
That was pre on air.
Yeah. This is for the listeners. Yeah, we just watched the Lazarus Contract, like literally, or is that what?
Judas Contract.
Judas. Yeah. I'm sorry, the Judas Contract, right before you got here.
Oh, nice. What's your thoughts?
It was good. It was a little forced sometimes. I thought there was some parts that were cringeworthy. I think
definitely
very very cringeworthy. Like some of Beast Boy's stuff with I don't know, just some, and I love Beast Boy as a character, but I think some of the lines in it were a little bit it just seemed forced and scripted, you know?
Yeah.
But I did like to see Deathstroke kind of continue past when he was killed or quote.
It makes
killed.
it right. It makes him slightly more interesting. But to me, that was also the creep. Whether he was playing along or not, it was super pervy to drag Tara in like she's in love. It's
when she was in
I just
nightgown.
Yeah,
I was like, oh.
and all that makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
My stomach did turn. I was just like, oh, that's so unsettling. But
Yeah,
you know,
man. how old is she? She's
a teenager. I mean,
13 or 14, or maybe, yeah.
I guess for my own sake, I'm assuming they're 17, 18, 19-year-old Teen Titans, you know,
would only
and
help.
they do look a little bit, and I guess I assume that because we saw the earlier version of them where Dick was still Robin and stuff like that. So I assume at that age, they're maybe 13, 14, 15, and then now when we saw them, we're hopefully aged a couple years where it's a little bit more legal. And
some of the sex jokes between Dick and his girlfriend,
Starfire,
the first one was okay, that's funny, I guess. It's a little bit forced, but okay. And then they had to rub your face in it. They had to keep making sex jokes over and over again. It's we get it. You're grown up and you're joking about having sex. I don't know. It was just some of it wasn't the best scripted dialogue I've seen out of DC.
For sure. It's without a doubt does not make my top 5 best DC movies or anything, but it was still fun to watch and you know obviously kept the storyline of the comic books, and there was a lot to shove into a movie comic book storyline wise. So
I will say they did really well with juggling as many characters as they had in that movie. I mean, there was a lot of people to juggle.
Yep.
I didn't like the I know I sound like a negative Nancy over here, but the Brother Blood's wife, literally all she did was in the movie was scowl at people and shoot them in the head.
Yeah,
that's all she did the entire movie.
What did she say? Your service has ended, or thank you for your service, or something like that. Bang,
and then she does it to her husband, and that's literally, she did nothing else for the entire story. I just thought it was kind of funny. She shows up, someone's gonna get shot in the head. So,
right?
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we got a lot to cover today. I got a lot of news to cover, so we will move things on to the news. All right, and for news this week, I have a couple things. Do you guys have anything for news?
Nope, not really.
No, nothing? Okay, good, because I have a lot. I actually only have a couple stories here, but let's see. Wow, that is really... All right, cool. We're not as loud here. Okay, so the first story is the button is delayed. And the big story here is that Tom King is actually letting Joshua Williamson write the rest of the story. And he stepped off. I think I don't know what the dynamic is there, because I like Tom King a little better than I like Joshua Williamson.
Yeah, I don't know. I checked out there's been that link you sent, and you know some articles on that. It's surprising, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So Tom King says, as we worked out the story details of the issues together, it became clear to me that Josh could script Batman 22 better than I could. My responsibility is to put out the best Batman issue possible for the fans, and in this case, the way to do that was to step back a bit and let Josh take the lead. Reading it over now, it's obvious I was right. I love the issue, and I love this event, and I can't wait for everyone to get it in their hands. So the next we have Batman number 22, which is May 3rd is when that comes out, which I think, is that this Wednesday?
Right at the end of the
Yep, this Wednesday. Yep, so it's a couple days from now. And then Flash number 22 has been delayed until May 17th. So I think that's
2 weeks from then.
1 week delay.
So
week. Two weeks from then it should have been 1 week. So yeah, I don't know. I gotta wonder, you just don't know what the dynamic is there. Like, I'm sorry, if Joshua Williamson was maybe more of the like leader in that group or whatever, and they were just clashing artistically, or I mean, it could have been any number of things. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think like they still designed the overarching story together. I just think that like as far as the logistics of writing the script and stuff, that's something.
What he said in his release is semi-encouraging. About all I have to think about it is to just wait and trust him and hope that when I read it, I agree with him. But
honestly,
it's scary that there's a chance I might not.
I don't think. I really don't think it's going to change much of the only thing that's going to change for us as readers is like something was pushed back a week.
Right.
I really think like the Button story and the Watchmen story, that's stuff that's already been planned out and
years in a
or at least by Jeff Johns. Like he knew kind of what was going to happen.
Sure.
So like Joshua Williamson and Tom King, their job is just to sort of take that story that's already been written and form it into like a script and stuff.
Yeah, execute it.
My only hope is that, Josh has done such a great job with Flash and kind of captivating who he is. I'm worried that he's going to have that rub off on Batman. Because even though the two are similar, they're very different. And I don't really want to see Batman having Flash characteristics.
Right.
I will say, from the little we have, we've only seen 2 issues. Tom King seems to show and not tell, and Joshua, that first issue, there was not very much dialogue.
Right.
Very much just showing you what was going on.
The panel layout, yeah.
And for the second issue, for Flash number 21, which we'll talk about later, that's a very narrative-heavy thing where he gives us a lot of Barry's inner monologue and stuff, and I prefer the former. Mm-hmm. I prefer the show don't tell thing, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna like it either way. Mm-hmm. I've loved this so far, so it's great. Big other piece of news that I have is C2E2 DC announces 6 new titles spinning out of Dark Knight's metal. So I know it's going to take a second, but I want to talk about all 6 of these titles and see what you guys think of them.
All right.
Because I'm a little excited. There's just a short synopsis on each of them. So the first, and it's called the DC Universe Dark Matter Universe, which I guess isn't. It's not going to be like Vertigo. It's still part of the DC universe,
but kind of like a multiverse type. Thing maybe or
no I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's part of the universe, but I'm not positive. And I gotta say, I'm excited just that they're doing that to start because Rebirth has played it pretty safe. Mm-hmm. I think in the titles they released, they released the big ones. They haven't done any weird spin-offs or anything like that. Right. So yeah, the first one is The Silencer. This is written by Dan Abnett and art by John Romita Jr., which I'm stoked about. Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome. But on her guest was the world's deadliest assassin until she traded it all for a chance at a normal life in the suburbs, free from the constant death and destruction. But as her former life comes back to haunt her, Honor must strip away her suburban persona and protect her family as the Silencer.
I love Dan, so I'm
yeah.
Yeah, there's not much to say about this because we don't know anything about it. Have you guys ever heard of The Silencer?
Nope.
This is a new thing. So, next thing we have is Sideways, debuting in September as well. This is written by Dan Didio. So they're putting some star talent on this group of books. Yeah. And Justin Jordan with art. Written by Dan Didio and Justin Jordan and art by Kenneth Rockefort. So, forever changed by the events of Dark Knight's metal, a teenager struggles to live through high school as he comes in contact with dark matter and gains the power to teleport through the dark dimension. But each leap brings the new hero one step closer to succumbing to the allure of his new power and its dark origins. So, I gotta think, A, this is probably part of the DC
I
universe.
think it is too, yeah.
And B, I'm thinking in Dark Knight's Metal, there's going to be some kind of like, almost like an Amazovirus maybe, like, except for it'll be like dark matter.
Right, so it sounds like they fight dark matter or something.
Yeah, that affects the populace, and then these are all going to be stories that spin off of that.
Right.
It almost sounds like a Raven story to me. Like,
ooh, she'd make a good
like
good addition to it. Yeah,
side character. Yeah, definitely. So next we have I can't talk. Immortal Men. What is it with that? Debuting in October, written by James Tynion the fourth, right? Okay, I don't know Roman numerals. And art by Jim Lee. Born at the dawn of time. Wow, that's a good team up. Born at the dawn of time, 5 siblings find that with eternal life comes eternal war. As the forces of destruction march into the modern world, they operate from the shadows, recruiting the elite against the foes who seek to bring about Armageddon. They are humankind's hope sprung eternal. They are the immortal men.
Immortal Men, okay.
That sounds epic. I mean, it sounds like... I like what I'm hearing here just because... And this is the first time I'm reading this. So, but it sounds kind of like a little darker stories. We've got like assassins and Raven type people and immortal men who are like, kind of seems like some Ra's al Ghul type people who have lived through eternity or Vandal Savage. Type people. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and you can kind of get the sense that they're important considering who's writing and drawing these. That
they're pushing them really hard.
Yeah, they want them to sell. You see those names on it, and most, oh, a Jim Lee book, I'm going to get that.
Yeah, which sometimes that's a flop. I mean,
sometimes
he drew on a bunch of Suicide Squad at the beginning of Rebirth, and in my opinion, that was kind of a flop for me. Like, I wouldn't. Sometimes they do that to push a book that they know isn't going to be good, but I gotta think that
I don't know if they think like that.
Well, a book that they know isn't going to be super popular. Yeah. Like they don't think a Suicide Squad book is going to sell as much, so they put Jim Lee on art, and it's to
try to sell more copies.
We know that people are going to buy a Jim Lee book just because Jim Lee drew for it. So I mean, like that's just that mentality of like business, So Damage is the next one, debuting in October, written by Robert Venditti and art by Tony S. Daniel. Ethan Avery only wanted to serve his country, but promises of becoming the ultimate weapon leave the new recruit living a nightmare. Cursed with the ability to unleash an unstoppable monster for 1 hour at a time, Ethan only wants to live out his life in peace, but if he can tame the monster inside, it might just be able to do more good for the country than Ethan ever expected. So, another weird spin-off title. Sounds strange, but
that one seems the strangest, less interesting. It's the 1 hour at a time thing that throws me. It's like, okay, so are monsters on the same like clocks that we are? I don't get that, but okay. I mean, like every twilight or sunrise or something would be, but no, every hour.
This is weird. Ethan only wants to live his life.
It's like a thing in Hulk smash up.
So he can unleash an unstoppable monster for 1 hour at a time. So, I mean, at the end of that hour, can he release another?
That's what I want. I mean, he reminds me of like a video game character, and like he's got a cooldown, a 1 hour cooldown before his abilities work again.
What is he doing to fight? Like, keep watching his watch?
I don't know.
Gotta wait before I can button mash some more. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I know Robert Venditti has done really good work on Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps. So,
sure.
And Tony Daniel is...
he drew Gotham City Sirens for a stretch back. I mean, that was before
Anything on
52.
Rebirth?
And I know I've seen him pop up, but I can't think in what now.
I can't. I know that I've seen it, but moving on. Ariel's looking that up, but moving on. New Challengers debuting in December, written by Scott Snyder with art by Andy Kubert. Scott Snyder is not impressing me lately. I hate to say that because I love him. I love his work, but hopefully it changes. Characters live on borrowed time, running from death towards the greatest mysteries, wonders, and terrors of the universe. It's a new cast, new mission, but in conversation with the story and greatness of the original Challengers of the Unknown. The story starts with Challengers Mountain returning after having been missing for years and only gets wilder from there. So
it sounds like that's connected to, something pre-existing kind of.
Yeah.
There must be a what was it? Challengers of the
Unknown.
Yeah. Yep. So there must be a existing.
Yeah.
Team that
It'll
they're
be
connect
interesting.
to, so that's cool.
Some podcast host should have looked that up before the show, but whatever. Did you find out, Aaron?
Yeah, he's worked on Harley Quinn.
Okay.
And a couple of issues of Batman.
Okay.
Tony S. Daniel has worked on... Okay, cool. Yeah, I have seen him on Batman, and I think, like, Harley Quinn maybe is sort of... Like, that's his thing or whatever, but I don't know. It seems like I've heard that somewhere. And then the last one, of course, is Dark Knight's Metal. This is debuting in August. This is by the Dream Team, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, which man, that was like the best time for me with Scott Snyder. Like, seriously, I mean, I rag on him sometimes for All-Star Batman right now and Batman the Shadow, but I just love the work that he's doing. So it all begins, or he did with Greg Capullo. I don't really like the newer stuff. So it all begins with Dark Knight's Metal, a story that will examine every choice a hero doesn't take and every path they don't walk. Opening up worlds that are forged by nightmares, characters and stories from each of the Dark Matter books will be plotted throughout this series.
Wow.
I hope it's going to be good. I really want this to be good because it sounds to me, it reminds me a lot of All-Star Batman, where it's like every choice a hero doesn't make, and it's more of that weird like prosy type writing style where he gives you like hypotheticals and
right.
I don't know. Like I had a hard time with those stories, but I loved this team, so I'm definitely going to purchase it, and I think everyone should.
We'll talk more about Snyder too when we talk about the Shadow.
Yeah, Batman the Shadow, which small confession is I didn't actually know who the Shadow was. I guess that's a character from Dynamite Comics, and I thought that this was just like a random Batman story called Batman the Shadow. Like, I didn't realize the Shadow was a character.
Like one of the first comic. He was actually who Batman was based off of.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
So that's why it was an interesting crossover, because I mean, back pre Superman or like during the Action Comics and all that, pulp magazines were big, and who knows what evil lies in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows, and it was like a radio show, and he would hide in the shadows and capture criminals, and he was kind of a vigilante. He worked for good, but like had unruly measures, and
so Batman.
And so when they needed a comic book character that was like Superman to spin off, like and it was just it was a popular thing at the time, and so it's just kind of Batman inherited a lot of his qualities, let's say.
Yeah. So it's cool to do a crossover. Yeah. I'll talk more about. I have stuff to say about Batman the Shadow, because I don't. It's not. I know I'm coming off as being negative about it. It's not all bad. I really do. I did enjoy it, and I do love Scott Snyder. I don't rate his stuff as terrible. It's more, I think it's just that he wrote such good stuff for New 52 that I have such a high expectation of his work. So if it were any other writer writing this, I might give him a pass or give him a small break. But like for Scott Snyder, it's just like I expect more from him because he's done such good work before. So, all right, enough of that. We are going to move things on to the book reviews. All right, and first off, the book on everyone's mind this week, The Flash, number 21. So, Ariel, why don't you take us to church on that book?
Right. So we all know where Batman number 21 left off, with Reverse Flash dead and Batman bloodied on the floor of the Batcave. Now it's time for Flash to investigate the crime scene in the Batcave. He isn't really able to find much, and after speaking with Bruce about the evidence, decides to head over to the Watchtower and take the cosmic treadmill out of retirement. And after some psychedelic traveling, they run into... So I think they're in Flashpoint, right?
No. Well, I don't know. No.
I don't know. They have somehow, I don't know if they're actually in Flashpoint, but the two realities have crossed somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of cool things about this book that I didn't catch the first time, and after reading some other people's articles, there's a lot of Easter eggs for where the continuity of DC right now. For example, we now know that the Justice Society was around. Mm-hmm. That because in the very first pages we see Johnny Thunder, and he's screaming, "Where are you, Thunderbolt? CEIU, please!" Which, do you know what that means?
Yeah, I don't know that last part, but he like his buddy from the Justice Society days was that Thunder Chief whatever. So it's somehow that word he said somehow is supposed to summon him.
His power.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Flash took a moment to kind of remember his dead mother, who Dawn killed.
Right.
The Flash notices that Dawn's body is covered with a unique energy signature of the Speed Force, an important clue, since the villain usually pulls from the negative Speed Force, which leaves a different signature. Barry wonders if perhaps he killed Dawn in the future, which I would be so upset because we all think it's Manhattan.
Right.
But it could have been Barry. Would he kill anyone ever?
But that's kind of the excitement of that possibility. Is there going to be some type of I think a Superman and Zod? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where is he going to have to do it? But and how is he going to deal with those repercussions? And Wonder Woman with Maxwell Lord. I mean, I think that that anxiety of is a superhero going to have to be forced to kill somebody? That could be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see all the puzzle pieces fall into place. Because right now everyone's speculating about everything.
Yeah.
So when Batman first touched the helmet or whatever, he saw just a flash of Flashpoint. But
he's his father.
Yeah, Ghost, pretty much. And I don't know if you remember, it was in Flash number 9. Flash touched a helmet of Mercury, and he felt this wave of calm and a new hope. So I don't know if the two are related. Somehow these masks are.
I'm pretty sure that's also kind of a nod to the Justice Society because that's Jay Garrick's helmet, who's the first Flash in the golden age of DC Comics, and was in the Justice Society and all that stuff. So that's another hint that.
So some more tidbits of
information.
Yeah.
I also
there's a lot. I mean, this is probably the most Easter egg filled comic that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there's just so much.
You could still dissect it and find.
Oh, and that little panel of the Justice League garage. I mean, I'm sure Ariel's gonna go into it on that, but yeah, there's so much in there. And I thought it was funny because Jim was from Weird Science. He emailed the editor or someone, I think an editor, and he was just asking him were you guys allowed to just kind of do whatever you wanted here, or were there constraints? Because he was curious, and I'm curious too. Did the editors just kind of go crazy on this one just to drive fans nuts, or or how much of this is intentional and actually part of the current DC story? I mean, I don't know. I just kind of wonder.
I mean, the cosmic treadmill is hilarious and exciting at the same time because we haven't seen that since Flashpoint. And, I mean, I'm on the fence as far as Flashpoint goes because there were some great things about Flashpoint and it was exciting and the transfer to the New 52 and then into Rebirth. I mean, they that kind of I thought. They transitioned into each era kind of well, but
I know you didn't like how they treated your
and
princess.
That's exactly where I'm going next. Except there were other things about Flashpoint where Wonder Woman being a murderous, raging, you know what? And it's just oh no, is that just gonna behead Mira again? Or we're gonna have to watch that all over? Yeah, but I hope not. I hope they're gonna focus on Bruce and his father because that's actually interesting to me because we don't see that obviously very often since ever practically because that maybe a dream sequence or something that
I hope they don't. I don't know. I always wonder how that even how did Barry saving his mother cause
the butterfly effect? That's all I know. I know you're shrugging, but
so speaking of butterfly effect, let's get some science in here. So that thing, it's if you touch a butterfly's wings, you've somehow altered.
Well, the general theory is that if a butterfly flaps its wings at the right moment in time on the shores of Asia, it can cause a typhoon to hit California.
Right.
And so it's one tiny thing can snowball into a big thing in the future. Something that seems tiny or ineffective at the time is kind of what the.
I've always loved that.
I know it is kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just a chain of events. The butterfly flapped its wing, which caused
It's just always so unexpected. Is what's fun about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that aspect, I don't know. I like seeing that alternate reality, even though it treated some characters I wasn't a big fan of Thomas Wayne Batman. I don't know. He was kind of a dick and just I didn't like his suit.
But his reality was so messed up. I mean, his
Yeah.
son's died and his wife's the Joker. And I mean, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't read Flashpoint, but it's been years now, so you should know that. But yeah,
I'm excited. I hope they kind of explore that more.
To me, that was the most interesting thing about Flashpoint was that Bruce died and Thomas and Martha became Batman and the Joker. I just thought that was interesting.
It was very cool. I don't know. Such a well-crafted story. And I love that they're sort of treating that with this. Also, did you catch the panel that was from Crisis on Infinite Earths in this?
And he's like, that's not how I formed my Justice League. Or
No, that's not from Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's from the original Justice League of America, I think. But the one where they're floating through the Speed Force, and Flash is holding Batman. And he's saying, "Dying, the world is dying. Iris dying, or it may already be dead." And he's just save us, and he disintegrates. That's how Flash died at the beginning of Crisis. On Infinite Earths. So I think this is them kind of combining those two events. I mean, they're really pouring that on strong.
Well, I think the whole book was kind of this is what's real. This is what's happened. We're making it fact now. Like that garage you were talking about, we saw Martian Manhunter's suit in Destiny's book to Lobo's hook and Warlog.
Yeah. I was trying to look at all that stuff in there. It was cool.
What else did we see? We saw Booster Gold Skeets, Horman set the Second's cowl, a Dr. Fate helmet, a Star Spangled Kid costume. There was even one of Blue Beetle's
machine. Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because they're using that right now in the Blue Beetle book.
Ted Kord, though, not Jaime.
Right.
But it's being used somewhere else.
Well, I think that's kind of what makes it interesting, though, because, is it a different... I agree that this is the point where there were so many people that were when New 52 and Rebirth all happened, they're well, what about the Justice Society and what about this Golden Age stuff? Are you just pretending it doesn't exist from here on out? And it really left a lot of open questions, but it's no, it looks like right now we are going to connect the dots and officially collapse our universes together and have some type of I want to say cohesive because nothing in comic book history is exactly cohesive, but a semi-connected overall storyline.
As good as we can, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one thing I was thinking, we know we're always trying to figure out where the book is in the timeline. Did Justice League happen before or after Batman? This issue, Batman's I've traveled in time before. So I don't know if he's referring to something in past issues or if he's referring to the timeline.
He's traveled in time before.
I know, but what's he referring to? Is he referring to the timeless thing that just happened?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I heard someone on a podcast say he's been a caveman before. I mean, he's over the course of Batman stories he died one time and was transferred throughout time and space, I think, too.
I have an Elseworlds comic where he's a pirate.
Yeah. I mean, he's been all over the place. So I don't know. I mean, Batman's...
how much does he remember of it, though, is the thing. Yeah. I would guess he's referring to the most recent event, but...
Timeless. What happened there?
The Justice League. With Tempest
I generally tune all that out, so...
And if that just happened, wouldn't Flash be talking about it, too? Because it was...
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, so what else on this?
What'd you rate it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we have a rating system here. Forgot to play that. Hold on 1 second. We'll play the rating system so you know what we're talking about.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
So I gave it an 8.5 just because it was super text heavy, and it kind of worked in this issue, but the first one was just so epic and in your face that I couldn't put it up there with the 10 with the other one.
Yeah, so Holy?
Yeah, Holy. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I'm there too, Holy.
Yep, I would do Holy, yeah.
I think it's great. It's really fun. I think it added another layer to the Batman 21 story that we had.
I really waited giving it a salvation because of Easter eggs in it.
Yeah.
I love that, and so... Yeah, definitely. If you're a comic book fan, pick that up and
examine
that with a magnifying glass and let us know if you find anything we didn't talk about.
And there is a great article on comicbook.com about it with all the Easter eggs and stuff. So, Cool. Well, we are going to move things on. I'll cover Suicide Squad What number?
16.
What number is 16?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Story on this one, Rob Williams, pencils Tony Daniel, inks Sandy Flore, colors Tommy Mori. In this story, it was heroes and villains, and it couldn't have been more impeccably named if you ask me. We're finally getting the tip of the iceberg on Lex Luthor's anti-hero tendencies or villainous tendencies. In this story, the Suicide Squad breaks into Lex Luthor's facility, LexCorp, to try and steal something while Amanda Waller keeps Lex busy. We get a lot of Suicide Squad hijinks while they're trying to break into Lex Luthor's facility, like when they all teleport into this facility, but for some reason Captain Boomerang's arm doesn't come with him. So the entire issue he's complaining about not having two arms, and it's pretty funny, actually. I like that part. So back up on top of the Lex Luthor's building, Amanda Waller and Lex are talking, and Lex tries to give Amanda a gift, but Amanda doesn't accept it. It's just this little box, and she's like, no, I don't want it. And the two go back and forth for the rest of the issue. Little catty talk, just two dicks talking. In the end, Lex gets alerted that the Suicide Squad is trying to break into his facility. Super suits up and flies down there to tell them what's what. We find out the Suicide Squad is trying to get their hands on kryptonite, and Lex reveals to Amanda that he knows what they're trying to find. In fact, that the gift he tried to give her at the beginning of the issue was the thing they were looking for the whole time. So he was trying to give her a box of kryptonite. He knows what's up. This is Lex Luthor. He's no dummy. So, and why are they trying to get kryptonite? Because they are now in the last series. I don't know much about it because I haven't read it, but I do know they captured General Zod in the last issues of Suicide Squad, and now they are trying to implant a kryptonite brain into the back of his head and recruit him into the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
brain bomb. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That it was awesome. It was really good. I was surprised because I was kind of like not looking forward to reading this one this week. I had Batgirl on this, and I was excited about Batgirl, and I wasn't excited about this, and it turned out completely opposite from how I thought it was going to be. So, what did you guys think about this issue?
I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I had a couple of favorites. I loved when Lex Luthor and Amanda were talking, and the alert goes off or whatever, and he's like, well played. And she was just like, the gig's up or whatever. It's like, what can I say? That was good. And I also loved when the Lex bot only detected live things, and the Enchantress is like, I can fix that, and she turns everybody into zombies, and that was awesome. So funny. It's like great. Way out there, but I loved it, and I loved it.
Harley Quinn's been really hit or miss with me, but I love her in this series. Like when she bites,
she shines on the head. Yeah,
I was like, Harley,
ball target coming in or something like that. Yeah,
that was awesome. I also loved the Bizarros too. That was pretty fun.
That was a good twist.
Just that was fun.
So since you haven't read Suicide Squad, it's kind of cool because Amanda Waller kind of died. Not really though, and someone else took over for a while, and then Amanda Waller came back. This is the first issue since she's been back, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So seeing her just get back in the game, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry. And I don't know the context of that. That's more of the. This podcast is newer, and there's going to be some times where I'm talking about books that I just haven't read the back issues. And
the last Suicide Squad, they did a big cliffhanger thing where Amanda Waller dies. You know what I mean? But of course, you're not going to keep the wall dead. The wall comes back.
No one's keeping the wall
and kicks
down.
your butt.
I kind of wish Josh would read it though, because the woman who took her place was even worse.
I know, right? Yeah, I haven't heard from Josh in a while. I got to text him. I gotta see what's up. So, all right, I gave this one a strong holy though. I really liked it. I was totally surprised by how good it was, and I just couldn't love it enough. So I give it a holy. What do you guys?
Yep, think? I gave it a holy too. It was great.
Cool.
Holy.
Awesome, very cool. Well, let's move things on to Noah's, I'm sure, favorite book of the week,
yeah.
Wonder Woman.
I know. Oh my gosh, this was such a good issue. Wonder Woman 21. Of course, we have Greg Rucka as the writer, Liam Sharp as the artist, and Laura Martin and Hi-Fi on colors. This is The Truth Part 4. Previously in Wonder Woman, for some context here, Veronica Cale's daughter Izzy's soul has been kidnapped by the twin sons of Ares, and the only way to rescue her is to open a gate to Themyscira and free Ares in the process. Diana and Steve Trevor are trying to prevent this mistake from being made. And so in this issue, Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor have just finally taken down Colonel Maru and Team Poison in probably the most epic, awesome fight scene she's had. It's so I honestly can't count because I don't remember any except this one. I'm sure it's happened that Wonder Woman's been shot. You just don't see her getting
got
shot.
Shot a few times,
and she got shot twice. Yeah. It was
twice. Okay.
Yeah. She got shot in the end of last time, and you start with her with that happening this time, and Team Poison like distracts her and Steve, and and she's like, the bracelets are going full force. You got that cool multiple arm things going, but then here's Colonel Maru up on top of a building with a sniper rifle, and just bam, and this goes right through her shoulder, and then bam, then it goes right through her abdomen,
She
and
can be shot.
yeah, it's just so effective because you don't see it very often. But so after they finally take her down, her and Steve catch up with Veronica Cale, the cheetah, Phobos and Deimos as the dogs, and Izzy, her daughter, on the barren island that holds the gate to Themyscira.
Yep.
Cheetah attacks Wonder Woman, which causes her blood to spill on this twisted tree that's been around forever, which we've kind of gotten the hint now that that's the gate, that's the key. Well, actually, the key is Wonder Woman's blood, because when it spills on the tree, the portal opens. The dogs dash in after their dad. The faceless Izzy just apparently found her way from the helicopter and just jumped into the portal, and Veronica Cale and Wonder Woman are like, wait, and then whoop, they all get sucked up in it, and Steve and Cheetah are just left behind. And it was so good. So we now have Veronica and Wonder Woman making their way through this tunnel, and all of a sudden they are transported to Ares prison along with Izzy and her face, and now are face to face with Ares.
Which, okay, I'm confused here because I thought we saw Ares in the first, like in the origin story,
right,
and he was this big hulking, like black, like not like African American, but like the color black,
right,
like just war god.
Well, that was armor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now he's like this
this chiseled Adonis.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys looking like.
He reminds me of like one of those 30s beefcake models. You know what I mean?
Or like a Chippendales guy.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I mean,
and he's got like shackles. He's got golden shackles and just like a loincloth, and he's completely, otherwise just.
Oh, he is chained up.
Shiny. Yep.
He's in jail.
He's in prison. Yeah, that's his prison.
Wait, so who has him imprisoned?
The gods, the Amazons. I'm just curious, though, if the Amazons know, because they're kind of rallying, because on their end, the trees, glowing as well. But what I essentially think happened was when Wonder Woman first came to man's world, they fought the cult of Ares, and she actually fought Ares. The gods came and helped her, gave her the powers. The lasso vanquished him. And we don't know exactly what happened after he was vanquished. So I'm kind of thinking that the gods imprisoned him in Themyscira, and knowing that Phobos and Deimos and other people would try to come after Wonder Woman to get the location, have made it so that she can't ever go home. Themyscira does not exist on this reality. You need a metaphysical gate to get through to, like the gods' world or whatever. And so... yeah, after he was vanquished, he was stripped of his armor, and underneath just, powerless. He's, he looks like a Greek god, obviously, and he's chained, and somehow, Izzy got trapped with him, and she played some creepy harp, apparently, and sang to him, and yeah, and so now they're face to face with it. And, Wonder Woman didn't recognize him either out of his armor, because he's like, I know you.
I'm just a little confused about, like, how the gods, the Amazon goddesses or gods must be allowing him to keep Izzy there, right?
They don't know.
I don't know if they. I don't know. One, I don't know if they know, and two, I don't know if they want to go into the prison to get her out to risk.
They don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of in this almost a tomb prison. It's just. So.
See, and like we have like 2 more issues of this, right?
Yeah,
and then we're done.
Yeah. Well, because this is issue 21, and it's going to go through issue 25, but 2 of those are going to be set in the past.
So we have
2
3.
of them are going to be, or one of them is going to be set. Or I can't remember how we're
2.
on
2
2
and
and 2. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I kind of it's awesome. I love Greg Rucka. I hate that he's having to end it this quickly, because I feel like we want some answers as to Wonder Woman's origin and who really messed with her origin, but we also want to get some closure on this whole Izzy Veronica Cale thing, and so I hope they wrap both of those things up nicely in 2 issues.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. I'm kind of so on the the history thing. I don't know what we'll exactly get out of it, 'cause I think that's actually connected to the larger picture that's going on in DC right now, and the more things develop, like what we saw in the Button and stuff like that, and that some of these previous incarnations have been around and stuff, I don't think we're going to get that direct answer in Wonder Woman.
See, but we got that answer in Titans with Wally West. We found out the magician, or Abracadabra, messed with his timeline. Now, we also know that there was someone causing Abracadabra to do that, but we got some direct answers.
Right, and I mean, yeah, I think we'll get some, but I don't think, I think the people that are kind of expecting this book sucks and want it wrapped up in, like a little bow, I don't think it's going to, get like that, but I loved it. I think he wrote a story where you're really connected to the secondary characters, and it's like it's just all so exciting because I felt like it was, we're getting to the climax, like it all came to the end. They're finally together, the trees there, the portal's opening, they're face to face with Ares. I mean, oh my gosh, I was just
Have we
excited.
gotten her father in here? Is she Clay or is she?
We don't know. That's a little bit more the kind of answers I hope we'll find out by the.
I'm just
the
curious
end.
why they made his hair black. I don't know if maybe that's a hint to like.
Right. Well, now that you say that, I mean that's very interesting because I do think. I mean, this isn't because I don't know for sure, but I think we're going to find out that Ares might be her father.
Yeah.
And if he's not, I think he'll have a deeper connection to the Amazons because in Greek mythology he is the father of the Amazons. So I think we'll get a like a controversial to some people finale at the end on it. But anyway, I could just go on and on. But I loved it. I thought it was exciting. Hopefully we'll get more answers and we'll earn a salvation. But until this point, it was a holy. I loved it. It was super exciting.
There is a moment where Wonder Woman, like Veronica Kell, was crying or whatever, and she's like, "I'll help you."
Yeah,
I was like, that just speaks to her character so much.
Greg writes her so well.
Kill you, and they're gonna help her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really that part got me too. I was like, I was pretty happy with it.
The part where in the earlier one where she was like talking to the cult members and they broke down and cried, what have I done? And she just comforted them. That's one of my favorite things of this whole thing. Yeah. So
yeah, what did you give it, Ariel?
Holy.
Holy. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Holy. So awesome. We will move things on to why don't we talk about Batman the Shadow?
Batman the Shadow, written by Steve Orlando, Scott Snyder, and art by Riley Rossmo, colors by Ivan Placencia, and letters by Clem Robbins. So a man dies in his apartment, and his death leads to this wild, crazy, greatest mysteries ever. And it turns out this man is named Cranston, and he should have been dead a long, long time ago. So Batman travels back to his past to try to get some answers. Not literally. Cranston's life leads us through a whirlwind of interviews, clues, and secrets. But every step of the way, the shadow is close on Batman's tail, and is making sure the hero doesn't learn too much. So, I felt really unfair, kind of judging this book, because I didn't know who the Shadow was. I didn't know his origin. I didn't know what was going on. And as I read more about it on other things, I kind of liked it a little bit more. So I don't think it's as bad as you first think it is when you don't know who the characters are. There were just so many characters. Like, there was Cranston, there was this lady, there was this guy who's this old man. I'm like,
yeah, it was a little bit confusing, and I think like I would like to go back and read it now that I know what it's about and stuff like that. But I really like the parts with Batman doing detective work and stuff. That's to me what like Batman detective comics should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's like him doing detective work, like crime scenes and like taking fingerprints and like that stuff to me is stuff that Detective Comics is lacking right now. And I feel like an off title should be like the stuff where the
superhero stuff happens.
Yeah, the Outcast crew and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was decent. It wasn't terrible.
There's a cool thing that I didn't know until afterwards that Lamont Cranston is actually the secret identity of the Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when the Shadow kills him, it's like killing your lineage.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's more there that I didn't see at first.
Yeah.
And the art was really great. I love the art.
Yeah.
It kind of played to that Detective Comics feel.
Yeah.
Which I really
for
like.
sure.
Overall, I give it a blessing, and I think learning more about the Shadow and going forward, I'll probably rate it higher.
Yeah, it was much better than I thought it was going to be too. I'm right there with you on blessing. I think it was good.
I did blessing too. I love that they took the character who Batman pays homage to and combined them so it into a story. And I don't know if some of the I know enough about like just the Shadow himself, but I don't know any of his supporting characters. So it's like I'm not sure if some of these characters were his supporting characters. I didn't take the time to look it up, or if what that was about. But
who was the old man that Batman was talking to?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no idea. I honestly do not know.
And then I said I also didn't quite catch. Is this a one shot, or are we going to get? Is it a miniseries?
I think it's a miniseries. I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a little more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many. It might be. Typically, these things are between 4 and 6 issues.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, cool. Well, we will move things on here. I'm going to cover Batgirl number 10. Story on this one's Hope Larson. Pencils and cover by Chris Wildgoose. Inks by John Lamb. And colors by Matt Lopes. So Batgirl and Penguin are playing a game of ping pong while Penguin tells her all about how much he hates his son. Meanwhile, there's been some fight happening over at the Iceberg Lounge, and Babs thinks Ethan is somehow responsible for this, somehow affecting people's emotions to cause this weird breakout of. There was 4 fights at the Iceberg Lounge. So Babs decides to break up with Ethan the next day, but he beats her to it and breaks up with her via an intern. Which is sick.
It's worse than text.
Sick breakup burn, Ethan. So Babs is a little pissed off at him for breaking up with her this way, so she goes with Grayson to talk things out a little bit. Ethan somehow sees this by hacking bystanders' cell phone cameras, and the next day he rams a car into a restaurant that Barbara and her friend are eating at. Batgirl is way too smart for this, so she suits up and gets ready to confront Ethan. At the end of the issue, we found out that Ethan is now operating under the name Black Sun, and he's taking control of his father's company. So more weird comic booky hijinks from there. I don't know. I mean, it was okay, I guess. I don't really have too much to say about this book, honestly, because I love Batgirl, but I don't know.
It reminded me of Nightwing with Defacer. I think they're trying to introduce new characters that should be interesting and catch, but it's just not working as
no.
To me, it's not. I didn't care for
Ethan,
and I thought I just thought the ping pong thing was odd. It's the Penguin. He's one of the biggest criminals in Gotham City, and you're gonna play a ping pong game.
Yeah, I know. That made no sense to me. She goes to sneak around Ethan's house and check things out or whatever, and she finds Penguin just hanging out at a ping pong table. And so instead of cut the BS here, let's figure out what's going on. She plays a game of ping pong. It's just so stupid. It's hokey.
And I gotta admit, the other thing that stuck out to me, there was one panel where she sees somebody getting mugged and they're yelling for help, and she's in her normal clothes. And then the next panel shows her in her Batgirl outfit rescuing the mugger, and it's like, did you have time to change before he, killed that guy? what happened with that? I don't get.
That reminds me a lot of the Deadpool short that we got at the beginning of Logan. Did you see that?
No, not yet.
Oh, this guy's getting mugged, and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is walking, but he's not in suit. So he's like, this is a job for Deadpool, and he gets into a phone booth.
Yeah.
And he takes 2 minutes. You watch him just change in this phone booth, and at the end of it, this guy who's getting mugged gets shot and killed.
Exactly.
And Deadpool runs out, and he's too late or whatever.
Yeah,
it's that's exactly what happened here, except it's unrealistic. So I don't know. I mean, it was a Batgirl comic. I feel like sometimes they you can write Batgirl 2 ways. You can write her as a Buffy the Vampire, strong female type character, which is awesome. That's the side of her that I love. Mm-hmm. Or you can write her as a social media obsessed high school boy crush, breaking up, teenage girl. And I feel like that's kind of the Batgirl we're getting with Hope Larson. It's
like she's trying really hard to make it a millennial story.
Right, I agree. Yeah,
and I think Babs is more than that. Mm-hmm. I think that there's definitely been a lot of stories where she has been more than that. Gail Simone did great stuff with her. So I don't know. It wasn't terrible. It was still a decent comic. I don't give it. I would even say a blessing. I don't think it belongs in purgatory just yet. I think if the last issue I was at a blessing to, this one they're kind of losing me. If it stays on this track, we're gonna get into purgatory territory. But for now, I give something about 3 issues maybe before I'll get sick of it and stop reading it or something. And for this one, I'm still there. So what would y'all rate this one?
I actually definitely gave it a blessing as well. It was not bad enough to be purgatory by any stretch, but it certainly wasn't very exciting either, know, so.
I give it a purgatory. It's really sucking.
Yeah.
I don't like Batgirl in this. She's different. She's strong. That's who I want her to be. That's who I looked up to.
Yeah.
Growing up, and this girl is a girl I'd roll
she's
my
real
eyes
hipster
at.
and
yeah. I don't mind the hipster side because, go figure me. But I don't mind that. But I think just the teenage girl. I don't know. I want
the teen angst in it.
I want them to emphasize her strengths and not her weaknesses. I guess. I think that making her have to have a relationship with the and depend on that as sort of a plot device is kind of okay, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool if she's independent.
Right.
You just have to know your character because Supergirl is doing this stuff and it's great. I love it.
That's so funny. I was just getting ready to say, it's speaking of a character where they write a teen girl that is strong, that has emotions and is going through teen things, but it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, cool. Well, we will move things on to our last book. Speaking of Supergirl,
right?
Supergirl,
Well, that's what we're talking about. So so
I have to apologize. I did not get to this one. I wanted to read the previous 2 issues before I read it, and just wasn't time of the day. So.
And then I hadn't read the previous 2, so I did go back and research what happened because I wanted full context of the story because it was really good. And speaking of we were just saying. Now we'll switch to an example where they wrote a teenage girl and did it really, really right. So we have Supergirl being super number 3. The writer is Mario Tamaki and Joelle Jones is the artist. For a little bit of history, previously there's been a deadly earthquake in Kara's hometown, and it killed her friend. And she's been dealing with the emotional aftermath of that because she's really hesitant to use her powers in front of people is the thing. She's kind of embarrassed by them and also scared because her parents have been trying to hide it from everybody, and this losses seem to kind of have triggered some hidden memories deep within Supergirl that she's kind of starting to remember of her parents and Krypton and all that. So now we'll cut to in this issue. Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, is still dealing with the aftermath of the earthquake that killed her friend, all while trying to keep her developing powers a secret in a high school filled with teen drama and angst. Late one night, Kara follows the sound of someone calling for help. She discovers her gym teacher, Coach Stone, performing an experiment on a Kryptonian she has prisoner. Kara frees him as Coach Stone flees. His name is Tan-Un, and he tells Kara that humans will only want to hurt people like them. He convinces her to run away with him, and she finally agrees to do so. Although, Tan-Un may not be as innocent as he seems, because right before Kara arrives, he vaporized an innocent bystander that just happened to walk by.
That's great. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. It was in the written review. One thing I said was you don't need to have Kara's superpowers to hear what the kids are whispering in her high school because there's a scene of her walking and you can hear she was there when her friend died and we were praying for her last night and all this stuff and that it's got to be terrible for anybody not just a superhero and her developing the powers it sort of was a coming of age thing and it was really good. I loved it.
It's interesting because in most adaptations of her, she knows who she is. She's 12 when she left Krypton, so this is the first time I've seen it where she can't remember.
It's broken canon a little bit from what we're used
that
to.
Is
so
odd.
It was but I like it. I like the art and the style and the storyline much better. Yeah, she's drawn so good. I like it so much better than the just Supergirl series, which is going for a specific audience and things like that. So that's all good. But this is a nice counterpart to that book because it's a very, even though it's set in high school, a very adult, emotional comic book, and I really liked it, and it was a very strong Holy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Does Supergirl and Supergirl being super, do they exist in the same or is this other world or?
I'm unsure. It's I mean I'm kind of with Uriel that it's appearing that it doesn't, but I don't think we've had exactly clear answers. And I did try to look to see if this was a one-off based on they tried to make related to the show at all, or if it's just kind of her own thing. But I didn't really get any concrete answers on.
And I don't know if it's related at all, but the lady was named Stone.
I couldn't helping that wonder the connection as well. Because I mean, a scientist
and she
named
looks like
Stone, Vic Stone.
she's black, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
she's African American. She's black, and so I mean that would match with Cyborg's dad. What's Cyborg's dad's name?
Victor
Stone. Yeah, Vic Stone, and
Yeah.
so maybe they have a family of secret scientists that do experiments on people. I don't know.
Man, this book's on the verge of salvation for me. Other than Flash, it's my book of the week.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Wow. Yeah, The Flash is definitely mine. And
Wonder Woman was mine. So.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of contenders this week
Yep,
too. I
it was
mean,
a good week.
Action Comics was really good. I thought too. So.
But I do just feel that Supergirl being super might go under the radar for a lot of people, and I just want to bring some attention to that. To don't let that happen. Try to pick it up. It's
well, and
it's
actually,
great.
yeah, I've heard from a lot of, and it's not just us. Like I've heard from a lot of people. Brad, even because he has little girls, but
Right.
he reads it to them. But he was like, "Man, that was one of my books of the week."
Yeah,
this
nice.
week. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a long, oversized issue. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, definitely. If you guys are into Kryptonian stuff at all, I don't know. I recommend it. I think it's just from what I've heard. I haven't read it yet, but I am going to. So, cool. Well, any parting thoughts this week before we close things out? We got like 5 minutes left. So,
Do you want to do some Who Said What?
yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
All right. So let's start. You really think I would let you go alone?
Oh, that's from this week.
They're all from our books.
That's Batman and the Flash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
when
yeah,
he's about to go on
into the
cause
treadmill.
judgment.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had to. It's the one I wipe with.
Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang
Yeah,
with the hand.
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
These are pretty easy. Of course, he get mugged right after dumping me.
Batgirl. Yeah.
All I need is a dorky pair of glasses.
Supergirl. Yeah, she's looking in the mirror and
I didn't even read it. I could. Yeah.
That carpet costs more than your yearly salary.
Lex Luthor
Man,
with Amanda Waller.
I actually
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I might not. I probably would figure that out.
She
But
spilled the wine on
that's
his
right.
carpet.
That's right. Yeah.
look at me, Daddy. Look at me. Disgusting.
Oh, I don't know on that one.
I don't know. Did the shadow say that?
Penguin.
Oh, the penguin. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hi. All you will find here are lies.
Wonder Woman said that. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that
When
sounds
they got
like-
transported
yeah.
into she's like, you have a different idea of paradise than I do. And she's like, you think this is Themyscira? No.
Deep fried tarantula like your fly traps.
Oh, that's the guy who's it's from Batman the Shadow. He's bringing all the food to different people in
Cranston?
Arkham, but I don't.
Okay.
Cranston. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I did all of this because of you.
That's a Batman voice.
Who said it then?
Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
One more. You are contributing to the groundbreaking discovery. This one.
I have no clue on this one. Was it a book I read?
Coach Stone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of.
Ooh, you guys
That was
got
my
it.
first. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I did just get an email for everyone out there that's excited about Injustice.
Got some dark side footage.
Yeah, Injustice 2 Darkseid game player trailer was released, which I haven't watched it yet, so I'm excited
Super
about
epic.
that.
And we also got a little bit. They released the achievement list, and there's Joker achievements, and he hasn't been released yet. So we know Joker.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna get Joker. So
I know they're going to, but I still hope they don't do the Suicide Squad movie Joker. I don't know.
yeah, no, I think he's already been established Injustice universe before the Suicide Squad movie, so they could have a skin.
Yeah,
but I don't
be
think
like
it'll
an
be
alternate
right.
skin.
Right.
Yeah. I in the story. I mean, yeah, I think I really like the Injustice Joker too. That to me is like he's
Classic.
comical, he's funny,
Right. He plays like you would expect a Joker.
Yeah, I mean, he's just your classic Joker. I love it. Which, speaking of which, Tom King released just a cover for one of his books coming up, and it is it's like a puzzle being put together. It's halfway put together, but half of it is the Joker's face.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're gonna finally,
Cool.
because at the end of New 52, we found out there are 3 Jokers.
Right.
So I think they're finally gonna start answering that.
Yeah.
And I think that has to happen before Rebirth sort of comes to a head or whatever.
Yeah, I hope so.
think they really have to answer because I think he'll play some card in that. No pun intended, but yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's all we got for you guys this week. In a couple days, we're going to be talking on DC Mass. We're going to be covering Batman Beyond, the JLA Detective Comics. We're going to talk about the Flash with that group of people as well. Titans, Hal Jordan in the GLC, and Action Comics. So stay tuned to that. It'll be up around Sunday. Do you guys have anything else?
Go read comics.
Yes.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.